What's going on, fellow A-Plusers? It is I, your host, as always, Adam Perez, certainly coming through once again with another Titans review, ladies and gentlemen, as we're about to get into episode number 11 for the third season here. Shout out to Indy Uchiha for having a great review in regards to the season finale of What If earlier on this evening. I think he went live around 7 o'clock. Not sure if you guys missed it or not, or had the opportunity to certainly join him. But if you haven't, if you've been checking out What If, go ahead and certainly check out his season finale review. But guys, we're here to go ahead and get into HBO Max's series Titans as we continue to get ever so close to the season finale of the show. And one of the worries that I continue to have when it comes to Titans, especially as it gets closer to a season finale, is really how it gathers all of its storylines and sometimes usually doesn't necessarily stick the landing. And if I can be kind of honest with you guys, while this season for the most part has been tremendous, I personally have really been enjoying it. I think this has been the best season of Titans that we certainly have gotten. I'm starting to feel a little uncomfortable here. I'm starting to feel some of the writing decisions getting a little bit more difficult for them as this season finishes itself off. We are really juggling multiple characters and storylines now that everybody's kind of come back. And for the most part, I felt like this episode handled it okay. There are certainly a lot of moving pieces that are certainly going on, but I'm starting to question maybe some of the decision making, especially in regards to one of our characters, in regards to Dick Grayson, the Dick Grayson, Red Hood, and Scarecrow storyline that we certainly have going on. I guess my biggest question first, we should tackle the elephant in the room, okay? So spoiler alert if you guys have not watched this episode, but the very end of this episode hints at the idea that Nightwing could possibly be dead, as homeboy literally got shot in the neck by a citizen of Gotham as they were certainly backing up their boy Red Hood. Clearly these citizens have drank the water that Scarecrow has spiked with their fear serum, and really thinks that the Titans are certainly their enemy here. So ballsy decision. I have no problem with that decision at all. I kind of like the idea of the stakes ending off this episode in a bit of a cliffhanger, right? I think we were kind of under the impression that Dick Grayson was going to remain for the remainder of this season in here. Hell, maybe even potentially go on to become the next Batman for all we certainly know, with all the liberties that the writers have certainly taken this season. So I'm not quite sure if Dick Grayson is dead. As a fan of the Dick Grayson character, please, God, no, don't let this happen. We just had to say farewell to Donna Troy last season. Thankfully, she's certainly back. But a bullet through the freaking neck while you're trying to keep pressure on it and then having to deal with the mob of Gotham City kicking your living ass while you're laying down on the ground. It's not a good look. I don't know what's going to happen to Dick Grayson. They killed off Hawk already. Do they have the balls to kill off Dick Grayson? I mean, listen, we do have a Lazarus pit hanging around when it comes to Gotham City. Potential that maybe Dick Grayson does die and they go ahead and bring him back, very similar to how they did with Red Hood. Although clearly from the comics and everything that we've read when it comes to or watched when it comes to Lazarus pit, if you are revived, there is a piece of you that is certainly missing, right? There is a part of you that certainly changes a little bit as you come back from the dead. So we'll see what happens when it comes to that. Ballsy choice. I love the cliffhanger. We'll see if, like Tim Drake, if he comes back miraculously healed, as he certainly did in this episode. But I gotta say, guys, the reason why the title of this episode is Dick Grayson an idiot? Like, why is Dick Grayson an idiot? Look, it's one of those things where the writing in here, I don't know if it's jumped the shark or if they're having a hard time trying to figure out how to draw out this Red Hood, Scarecrow, and Dick Grayson storyline. But I feel like they are taking the Dick Grayson character backwards a little bit. There's nothing more infuriating than seeing a character go through the same thing over and over and over again and not learn from his mistakes. My displeasure that I have with Dick Grayson in this episode really all comes down to the idea that he continues to want to go into battle with Red Hood one-on-one, like it's something fucking personal. Like he's the only person in the world that can handle things. And when you've got a heavy hitter in your arsenal like a Superboy, why are you going into these situations alone, right? Like the very first episode, we got Bruce Wayne that tells Dick Grayson, be a better Batman. And yet, the only thing that we've seen all season long is Dick Grayson just being Batman, taking things way too personally, way too seriously. And at the end of the day, putting himself in terrible situations when he doesn't need to at all. I mean, how many times you can count clearly on one hand how many times he's made these decisions. I feel like there's at least 2 or 3 moments in this season that you can account for that Dick Grayson keeps the Titans back, goes in alone, and fucks it up for everybody. Hello, breaking Jonathan Crane out of prison. Anybody, right? Homeboy went into that decision when he certainly didn't need to by himself and fucked it up for everybody. Now look where we're currently at, right? So again, you can name outside of that moment, I'm sure you can name at least 1 or 2 other moments, not just in this season, but the previous season also. There is something really frustrating about writers creating the character and writing around him to make the same idiotic mistakes and not learning from his mistakes. I mean, listen, Dick Grayson literally could have survived the end of this episode if, guess what, Superboy was around, right? Talk about somebody that's bulletproof, could have easily just pushed the citizens back, maybe jumped in front of the bullet for him, sort of thing. It's the constant idea of one putting Red Hood against Nightwing, because we've seen this outcome 2 other times, and what's the same outcome? Red Hood gets his ass kicked, and guess what? It happened again in this episode. But knowing that Dick Grayson fully knows that he's walking into a trap, that it's not just going to be so black and white and simple. I'm going to take this guy out, bring in the justice, we're done. Walking into that situation, it's not going to happen. So that mentality, that arrogance of thinking you can handle the situation alone, why are you a leader of a team if you're not going to let the team do what you trained them to do, right? Like, that's just really not trusting the people around you. And I think, if anything, season 2 probably should have taught him that lesson, but we're certainly not there. Listen, I complained about this guy over on Twitter, right? And listen, this does not feel like the Dick Grayson character to me. It just doesn't. But then again, I'm currently reading the current run of Nightwing. I very much remember him from the 80s as Robin back in the New Teen Titans, on and off when it comes to Dick Grayson in between those stories and stuff. But this just feels very much out of character to me. And I complained about this guy. I complained about Dick Grayson online, and somebody wrote back to me and said, that's very Dick Grayson in regards to his decision making. He says, Dick's uptight when he's leading a team. He's highly respected, but he's serious and in more control than usual. This is a very important point. When Dick is working solo or with the Bat family, he tends to be more laid back. When he's leading the team, though, he's colder and sticks to business. The reason behind this is pretty simple. Around the Bat family, he's at ease because he knows how well trained they are and doesn't have to worry about much. He can rely on them and they can rely on him. The expectations are clear and defined, right? But because of that, Dick does channel Bruce in situations where other heroes don't execute the same caution. Not to be an asshole, but to ensure the safety of everyone around them and prevent collateral damage. This is why Dick is so serious as a leader. He's worried about them. He has a responsibility of their lives in his hands, and he doesn't skip on that. Dick cares about people a lot. That's what drives him. And listen, I get that point, right? But if you're not going to trust your teammates that you specifically trained to handle situations like this, why are you a leader in the first place? The fact that we've seen him make these wrong decisions from seasons 1, from seasons 2, and now here in seasons 3, it's the lack of writing and understanding that characters have to grow. They have to learn from their issue. This is the same issue that Oliver Queen had in Arrow for like 3 or 4 seasons when it comes to the CW show, right? People always complained all the time about, he's like, he wants to kill, then he doesn't want to kill, but then he keeps making the same mistakes and hasn't learned from anything until you get to like season 4 or 5, and all of a sudden he's a man that realizes his ways, right? So it's frustrating. It's frustrating as a viewer to feel like this does not feel like Dick Grayson to me. And while I appreciate the guy's opinion in regards to, oh, this is who Dick Grayson is, it doesn't fly with me in the sense of how they're executing that in Titans, because it just feels like you've got Superboy. And not just that, it's not even the case of not trusting your teammates. It's the length that he goes to in this episode. Be a better Batman. Yet again, you did what a Batman would do. You went and got kryptonite and you blew it in the man's face. And not just his face, Crypto's face, y'all. Crypto's face. You might as well be dead to me, my guy. This is like the Russian guy from John Wick, where you give me every reason to want to hate you when you start harming dogs. Okay, it's the same exact situation. So how do you? How does Superboy react? How does Connor Kent react to that idea that homeboy literally took kryptonite that's extremely poisonous to him to take him out of commission so he can go and do a dumbass decision that he knows he's walking into a trap? But it's Dick Grayson, right? It's a level of arrogance and confidence that I just don't feel really fits sometimes with Dick Grayson. If I'm wrong, please let me know in the comment section box below. If you can understand his actions in this episode based off what the writers have given us in seasons 1, 2, and now 3, please let me know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below after this episode, because it boggles my mind the lack of understanding and smartening up your ways and learning from your mistakes. Because honestly, listen, if the pizza delivery guy can literally walk in the front door of Bruce Wayne Manor, why can't you and Superboy just bust down the fucking front door and go and take care of Red Hood and Scarecrow like that? There's no reason for 13 episodes. You got Starfire, Blackfire, Gar, Raven now. I mean, come on, guys. What are we doing here, man? Like, what are we doing here? And so, super frustrating when it comes to Dick Grayson. I hope he survives. I hope he does. And I hope I hope he winds up learning a very valuable lesson. Because if the lesson of this season is for Dick Grayson to understand that he's not ready to be a better Batman, that he should just stick to being Nightwing, then he's probably learning his lesson. At least for me as a viewer, that's the lesson that I'm learning, that you are not ready to be the new Batman of of Gotham City. You're just not ready for it, man. And it's a shame because, one, I love Brenton Thwaites. I love his performance as Dick Grayson. Dick Grayson is a fan favorite of mine. So to see him being treated like this, and being handled and written like this, I just don't get it. And who knows, maybe he's got a great redemption story, right? Maybe he learns the error of his ways the last 2 episodes. That's cool and all, but you know what? This season was going so well, man, and then all of a sudden the writing starts jumping the shark a little bit. It's a little bit hard to swallow sometimes, guys. If I'm being honest with you guys. So that actually got me a little bit heated today to kind of see, or heated and confused as to what's certainly going on with these characters, because Red Hood never stands a chance, but you guys know it's never going to be just a simple fight like that. So we'll see if Dick Grayson survives or if he's dead when it comes to next season. But again, I definitely want to know your guys' thoughts when it comes to how they're certainly handling Dick Grayson here. And speaking of the Red Hood and the Scarecrow elements of this episode, first off, interesting choice to have TLC playing. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Pretty interesting to start this episode off with Scarecrow really in a good mood. I mean, hell, I would be in a good mood too if I took over Bruce Wayne Manor all for myself here. Homeboy's getting shaven up, looking great, right? Even trying on Bruce Wayne's outfits and suits, looking clean. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but once he actually starts opening up his psych file and he starts hearing everything that Bruce Wayne starts talking to him about, starts saying about him, right? That, you know, that he's more of a, what did I put down? That he's more of, let's see here. Oh, that he's someone he's someone that you can pity, that he can't really sort of do things on his own, that he needs to use pawns and get others to kind of do his work for him, right? That he can't keep up with like the terror and the fear that his alter ego in Scarecrow dishes out to people, right? That he's really nothing more than just a mask and his serum. But Jonathan Crane himself as a person is somebody you got to pity at the end of the day. And he does not like the sound of that. And so technically wise and the idea, like technical wise, and the idea of how they filmed it, I love that Bruce Wayne's suits seem to fit Jonathan Crane perfectly well when he tries them on. Homeboy's like dancing in the back cave, and then moment he hears the news, he looks disheveled as hell. The tie is all unadjusted. His jacket is like two sizes too big for him, sort of thing, right? His pants look a little bit saggier than anything, not that modern fit that Bruce Wayne usually likes to rock. I just absolutely love his joyous fit of him rocking that Bruce Wayne attire. And then once he hears that we should probably pity him, I love the fact that he's completely disheveled after that. And it just goes the entire way for the remainder of this episode. And I absolutely love it. I think from a technical aspect of how you film that, showcasing the character from before and after, I thought they did a remarkable job in regards to that also. But he is driven for something to prove in this episode. I mean, we clearly see that he doesn't think he needs a mask, winds up scarring himself, with his shaving knife that he wind up having earlier in the episode. So he's really just off the rocker at this particular point in time, really trying to prove his worth. Even though right after he hears that psych evaluation from Bruce, what's the first thing that he does? Go and gets his pawn, right? Tries to work his pawn up in order to go ahead and do his dirty work for him, while he tries to muster up the strength to be what Bruce Wayne doesn't think that he's capable of being. So again, while I haven't really cared for the Jonathan Crane stuff, because if you ask me, it really just sort of undermines and undercuts the lethality of what Red Hood is supposed to represent. Like the first 3 episodes of this, Red Hood was a badass, right? And then all of a sudden you come to find out that this is just a kid that's being manipulated by Scarecrow and probably doesn't really want to do this, but he's been under so much stress and been through so much shit. Now he's being manipulated. He's got the anti-fear serum or whatever the case may be within him, sort of thing. And you just see the direction in which Jason Todd is going, and it's kind of pitiful, man. Like the kid just gets his ass beat by Nightwing every chance that he gets, doesn't get the upper hand anymore after the 3rd episode in this. And it's just a shame that the inclusion and the involvement of Scarecrow to the capacity that it's been has really just undermined the Jason Todd character and just made him just somebody that we're supposed to almost feel sorry for at the end of the day. And look, after killing Hawk, I got no pity for you, man. I really don't. Bruce Wayne gave you a chance. You walked out on him. And it's it's interesting to see. Like, and I'm not saying that you necessarily need to take Scarecrow out of this show or anything like that for Red Hood to be a serious, but for me, I really would have loved to have seen Jason Todd turn on the guy. Like at some point in time, just like, bro, you really don't do anything for me besides sort of hold me back and tell me to do stuff, sort of thing. I mean, you're Jonathan Crane. You're not even the Scarecrow at this particular point in time. If Jason Todd, Red Hood, wanted to get rid of Scarecrow and then take back that mantle of being the one in charge of Gotham City, that's a direction I would absolutely love to see. But it almost feels as though they're trying to give Jason Todd an out. Like if they want to go down the redemption arc for him, maybe they could. I personally don't want to see that. I rather see him maybe continue as a villain or an anti-hero and walk off into the sunset or, nightfall or whatever the case may be, to maybe come back another day. But there's just something that tells me by the end of this season, things might be ho-hum and ready to go for Jason Todd. And I just hope that's not necessarily the case, because it just feels weird after everything that the kid has done this season. Again, not saying kill the kid or anything like that, but justice should certainly be served. With Red Hood leaving, the moment that he sees Nightwing suffering and practically dying, sort of thing, just leaving him for dead. I mean, clearly Jason Todd looked like he was traumatized, almost like he can't believe that it's gotten to this particular point where Dick Grayson might be dying, sort of thing. The fact that you leave a man dying that you were close to, come on. I mean, what are we doing here, guys? So yeah, the Scarecrow stuff I thought was pretty funny, at least in regards to seeing the 2 different sides of Jonathan Crane and really trying to prove something to himself. So we'll see what happens now that the masks are no longer needed when it comes to Scarecrow along with Red Hood. I also want to say quick honorable mention out to Tim Drake and Donna Troy. Love the fact that those 2 are back together. But again, it's one of the things like the guy healed super quick. Tim Drake mentions to Donna Troy, I just woke up and I'm healed. Type of thing. I'm like, okay. I mean, can we get some explanation for this? How much time has passed? Like, he was like, I woke up and I was fine. I was like, well, look, when you woke up last week's episode, you woke up on the operating table. There was blood coming out of your body. I mean, we've got receipts. Like, if you want me to put up the thumbnail from last week's episode that we reviewed, you woke up on the emergency table with blood coming out of your chest. So I would like to have known how much time has passed, but they just make this guy miraculously healed out of no place. I mean, listen, I guess when you're trying to cram that many storylines into one particular episode, you kind of skimp out on the details. And I feel like that's the issue that the Titans tend to have when it comes to every season that we've seen so far. Like the last 3 or 4 episodes of the season, you start skimping on details to crunch some time so you can kind of get everybody in. And then again, the idea of Tim Drake having a massive lab in his household, like, how do you, as a parent, how do you not know, especially if it's in your store that you're looking? She's like, oh, I thought we stored our rice in here. Have you not gone in this room in like 2 years? Have you not seen what this kid has been putting together, sort of thing? He just miraculously has a workstation ready and available to just find anything that he certainly wants to. I mean, listen, there's nothing wrong with good old detective work, which I really would have appreciated by Tim Drake. I mean, listen, the guy is genius level. I'm not taking that away from Tim Drake at all. It's just the hocus pocus, and we've got a can search for anybody sort of lab. You almost got like a mini bat cave in your storage unit here that this kid has kind of put around. So, details, man. Can we get some details throughout this season? Like, I've got some computers, and then like, oh, those are the computers you were talking about. Okay, I get that. But this just came out of nowhere, man. I mean, the guy's got high-tech technology enough to be able for like Donna Troy to be able to do whatever she needs to. And then all of a sudden, him and his brother have got people on the inside that's working. Like, what's happening right now? Is Tim Drake, have you been an undercover police officer this whole entire time and nobody's known about it? Again, details are important, writers. And the fact that you're just all of a sudden his brother's like, oh yeah, we could probably pull this off. I've got some people that are telling me some stuff on the inside. I had no idea you had those type of connections, man. Like, you and your family should be much better off if that's the case. So I don't know what's going on, guys, with the ending of this season. It's just the idea of having to cram everything in before the season winds up ending. I will say this, though. Can we talk about Starfire for just a minute here? Because technically, Blackfire this whole entire season has had a case for herself, right? The idea of Starfire being the daughter that gets everything that she wants, right? Including Blackfire's powers. Wow, what a revelation, guys. I'm not even kidding. What a massive revelation that was. I did not see that coming. And it is one of those things too. I didn't know we were going to get the opportunity to see Tamaran in this season. Granted, I would have personally have liked like maybe half a season, maybe 3 episodes on an actual planet, like actual space travel to Tamaran. I thought that would be pretty cool. But to see that, listen, we've got at least some set design pieces. We've got a great sort of special effects background to give you a shot of maybe some of the war and destruction that's sort of happening on Tamaran. I'm just glad that they at least gave us some sequences on the planet here this year. So kudos to them for at least getting that kind of involved. But to kind of see where the story goes in the sense of Starfire being born without abilities, but her father being the king, being able to get whatever he wants to lie to the public and not let them know that, but then take the powers from their next newborn daughter and put those over to Starfire. Man, some crazy shit, man. That's some crazy shit, right? In the sense that Blackfire all season long has felt some type of way about her sister, and it's kind of warranted. It's not the fact that Corey asked for this, right? But I think Blackfire definitely has the right to feel some type of way about her family after all this time. Now, whether or not that's worthy of killing the king and queen when you find out the truth, who certainly knows? And that is one of the questions that I have. Does Blackfire know the truth? Did she learn the truth, right? Her time back on Earth and attempting to kind of gain these powers back, was that her motive all along? We do not see her in this episode at all. She took the powers and she booked it. Whether or not we see her again, she's not with Connor. She's not with Raven and Gar. Is she going to turn up to be like the two things here? I'm wondering if she'll come back and actually help the Titans and save them from whatever the situation might be, or if this was part of her plan the whole entire time. Now that she's acquired her rightful powers, is she now going to turn on the Titans now that she's got what she wanted? So I am curious as to know the truth of Blackfire. How much did she know? Is that the real reason she killed her parents? And where is she? So I'm really fascinated. But the thing that I'm missing, and maybe you guys can sort of connect the dots for me. I don't know if we ever get the answer that we felt we deserved in regards to how Corey is connecting with this, with the store, was the Crown Jewel Pharmacy or something like that. I think she walks in and there's a lady trying to get medicine for her little baby. You know, she saw the crown jewel in her visions. She's seen the baby in her visions. I was thinking to myself, does that mean my Blackfire's pregnant with like Connor's baby all of a sudden, right? Like, is that what that's leading to? But we do get a story of this lady and her son, or her child, having have left like wherever they were at before. Now she's surviving kind of on her own. I'm just wondering if maybe I'm wondering what the connection was. You know, like for a second when we see Corey get shot and then all of a sudden the powers kind of engulf her, I was looking at the kid and I thought I saw the baby's eyes glowing, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, and then I might have to go back and check it out. If they're not glowing, somebody's got to tell me like what the connection is. Is it just a connection because the visions were trying to tell her like, hey, there's more going on here with your sister and your lineage than even you personally know? And so maybe it was a way of teasing her that there's more for her to certainly learn out there. I'm not quite sure, but I do find that rather interesting. And I personally have liked the Starfire and Blackfire story that we've gotten so far. And so I do want to see what the conclusion of this is certainly going to be like. If it's going to be them, you know, punching at each other, whether or not it's going to be Corey apologizing to her sister for maybe not being more understanding, and where did this newfound power of hers actually come from, right? Like, is it something that's been laying dormant all these years and it just took her to be in a very perilous situation for them to be activated? I need some questions. This episode has left me with a lot of questions and a lot of head scratching moments that I honestly just think that they're just going to brisk right over and move on to the next couple of episodes until it wraps up and not really give us the information that we need. It's the situation of very convenient things happening all at the right time with no explanation for the writers to just be able to push the story forward. And stuff like that is super frustrating to me. Mishandling characters, maybe carrying out a storyline way too long, glossing over important details that you probably could have hinted at earlier on in the season, sort of thing. God, man, this season has been so great too. And it's just a shame that they're having the same issues as they close in on the finale. And it is one of those things. Look, I'm going to continue to enjoy this season. Like, even if this last 2 or 3 or 4 episodes aren't necessarily that great, but maybe they're still good, I'll still consider this season a win, honestly, because I think it's just, this season has been just that much better, I think, than what we've gotten before. Not to take anything away from the Deathstroke stuff, because I absolutely loved what they did with that. But I just think the tone, the pacing for the most part has been handled really well. But now that we got to start putting all the pieces together, that's really where it tends to have its issues. But maybe they'll fix them. Maybe they'll fix them. I'm definitely going to give them the opportunity. And quick side mention, again, I think we mentioned this, the idea of Rachel and Gar working together. Now, Rachel looks great as Raven. She certainly seems like she's got a much better grasp on her powers as they wind up discovering the Lazarus Pit. I don't think it's the last that we've seen. It would not surprise me if maybe Dick Grayson needs it more than ever, right? I mean, Raven is connecting with him. She feels that something's wrong. Maybe if she actually discovers and locates him in the next episode, maybe that's exactly where she winds up taking him to the Lazarus pit to go ahead and be brought back to life, or at least healed. So we'll see what happens. But guys, it's just, again, it's just frustrating. Like literally, Nightwing, Superboy, bust down that fucking front door of Bruce Wayne Manor. Go get you some Jonathan Crane and put that man back in prison, please. If the pizza boy can walk in on a wide open door, there's no excuse for why somebody like a fucking Nightwing can't make its way into Bruce Wayne Manor with Superboy and just and finish this. So I hope Connor Kent says something to Nightwing, maybe a little, a push in the chest that flies him across Titan's Tower or whatever the case may be for some payback. Because Dick Grayson, man, you're losing some respect for me, my guy, and I absolutely love you as a character. Not your fault. I am putting in a lot of that responsibility on the writers, though, for not telling a better character-driven story for you this year instead of just a bunch of fuck-ups and not learning from your mistakes. That just does not feel like a Dick Grayson move to me at all. I think he's a lot smarter and a lot more intelligent than what they're writing him out to be, unfortunately. So, guys, this has gone on a long time. I'm sorry for such a long review. I had to get some shit off my chest because this episode was just downright frustrating to me. Decent, but really some really terrible decisions, man. And I'm hoping they fix going a little bit forward. But listen, these are just my A+ opinions. At the end of the day, I want to know yours. What did you guys think of Titans season 3, episode number 11? Did you love it? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Pros, cons? Let your thoughts be known in the comment section box below, guys. And I'll certainly go ahead and join in the discussion until next week's episode. So until then, do me a big favor. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And as always, keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. If you enjoy our content and want to be a part of helping our channel grow, become a patron supporter. We have affordable tiers to choose from that offer a variety of exclusive and early access content, from audio files for all of our shows for you to enjoy on the road, access to our Discord community, and plenty of reactions, reviews, character breakdowns, and more. Check us out at patreon.com/A+opinions. And as always, remember, like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so anytime we drop a brand new video, you will be notified.